Should I pay my credit card in full early? This is a question we often see, or questions like it. Take, for instance, this important question I found on Reddit. It didn't take long to figure out that many of the responses in Reddit to important financial questions were an absolute cesspool of bad advice. Take, for instance, these responses. So I need to provide actual answers from an expert. I asked Rod Griffin if paying off your credit card way before the due date is a bad idea. Now, Rod is one of the nation's leading credit education experts and is currently the vice president of education at Experian. I asked him to start by addressing whether it is true that you should not pay your full credit card balance. According to Rod, one of the most pervasive myths in credit scoring is that you should not pay the balance in full each month on your credit card. The fact is that paying your balance in full is the best thing you can do. The only thing that carrying a balance does is cause you to pay interest or fees. It just costs you more money. The lower your utilization rate, which is your balance to limit ratio on your credit cards, the better it is for your credit scores. Paying the balance in full ensures the utilization reflected in your credit report will be as low as possible. Let's pause for a moment to give you a chance to like and follow for more ideas such as these. Okay, back to the topic. I also asked Rod to address the myth that you should only pay the statement amount. According to Rod, paying a credit card long before the due date won't hurt your credit scores, but won't necessarily help it either. Credit scores are looking at whether or not the bill was paid on time, which means by the due date for the account. Your credit report typically shows the balance due at the end of the billing cycle. Paying in advance may or may not change that. If the payment occurs after the end of the lender's billing cycle, it would still show in the credit report. The date the billing cycle ends is often not the same as the due date. So paying in advance doesn't mean you will have a zero balance showing in your credit history. The only certain way to have a zero balance appear in your credit report is to pay off any balance on the card and then not use it again for at least a month, and maybe more. That would ensure the account is updated to show a zero balance. If you use the card during the month, that activity will be reflected in the credit report. Rod added that trying to manipulate credit scores usually backfires on people. They usually don't know what the date is for the end of the billing cycle. If they are using credit cards for automated payments for things like points or cash back, and then paying off those charges, it can be difficult, if not impossible, to control when those charges are made. It is usually determined by the service provider, which then makes it very difficult to time your payment so the balance is paid before the end of the billing cycle. I need to leave you with these two common sense strategies for higher credit scores. Pay the bill on time, ideally pay it in full, and keep your balances as low as possible. Do both over and over again. That's all it takes to have good credit scores. Promises for a quick fix or a miracle solution or insider secrets are big red flags that the person doesn't really know what they're talking about. Like and subscribe for more ideas such as these.